We are getting ready to start our high school hoops preseason previews here. We'll start with the boys this week. We'll do the girls next week, so you have all of that to look forward to. And when we start here, Cocalico is first up on the list. Their senior sharpshooter is Trey Rios, and just a little reminder of what he did at the end of last year.
Rios, dribble left, sets, fires, got it! Ring it up, Rios!
Own admittance, the head coach of Cocalico said one of the biggest shots the last 40 years of Cocalico basketball history. Trey Rios nails that to go to the district final. Let's take a look at what Trey Rios did last year for these Eagles. Averaged about 8.2 points per game. There were a bunch of scorers that have graduated or moved on. He did lead the team in three-point field goals with 39. Had 60 assists and 28 steals, and they will look to have a lot of scoring and other aspects of the game come from Trey Rios. So, Eric May, as you will get set to call these boys' games this winter, how are you feeling about the Cocalico team in whole? And I'm sure you're expecting big things from Trey Rios in his senior season.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, we had the excitement of that game to the excitement of, albeit one of the lowest scoring games ever in a district final, but a nail biter that unfortunately for Cocalico lost at the end. But you know, this is a guy that Coach Sigmund is really going to rely heavily on, based on his experience and obviously his scoring. But the thing about Rios is that with his experience is he's now going to have the capability of spreading the ball around, because let's face it, defenses are going to key on him. So yes, Coach Sigmund wants the points out of him, but at the same time, he's going to be able to dish it off and then give other guys the opportunity to step up and contribute.
Tim, your thoughts on Trey Rios?
It's been starting since he's a sophomore, and as Eric said, a lot of focus is going to be on him. And one thing about Rios is he makes everybody else on the floor score. 60 assists, I'm sure that he had last year. He is going to improve on that last year. You just wonder how the kid is going to handle the pressure, though, because, last year he was not a senior. This year he's going to be the senior and one of the seniors that everyone is going to be looking for, not only with the Cocalico teammates, but also everyone's going to be gunning for him in the Lancaster Lebanon League.
All right, so Cocalico, we will see what they are this year. They definitely had Carter Nunaville and some others graduate and leave the team from last year. So certainly not the team that went to the district finals. We'll see what they are as they will pop on the channel here in December. Let's slide over to the Ephrata Mounts. And Ephrata Mounts are on the comeback here, trying to rebuild the program. Second year for Coach Scott Gaffey over there in Ephrata. One of the guys, one of their seniors that'll be shooting it is Mason Hagan. Let's check out what he did last year. He averaged almost 14 points per game and shot 39% from three-point range. He was 71% from the free throw line, was a second-team All-Star in Section 2. So he's going to be part of this offense. I do think, and seeing some of what was going on there on that team with varsity and some of the JV players that are coming up, I think they're going to have a much-improved team. Eric, your thoughts on the Ephrata Mounts as they will be on the channel several times this year?
Well, and just like with Cocalico, and Coach Gaffey, I think, is really going to rely on Mason Hagan to be a major contributor to this team. And it really started to fall into place for him in the second half of the season. And from what Coach Gaffey says, that he has worked extremely hard in the offseason as far as working on his game and his skill and conditioning. So I think this is a guy that the Mounts are going to have to be rallying around. And as Mason Hagan goes, I think the Ephrata Mounts will go.
And you can see he's a shooter, but he's also scrappy too. Loves to get in the lane and do those kind of things right there on TV. So Tim, your thoughts on Mason Hagan and the Ephrata Mounts as a whole?
When you shoot almost 40% from three-point range, you got to be doing something right. You got to be putting in time in the gym. He scored 34 against McCaskey late in the season last year. So this kid can shoot the ball. He's going to be one of the seniors that they're going to be going to. One thing I hope that he worked on was the free throw percentage. 71%, not bad, but I think he's got to get that up a little bit to around 80% to be really effective, guys, because when it comes down to it at the end of the game, teams are going to foul those kids that don't shoot free throws the best.
We always talk about it, and it's a weird stat to harp on, but Eric, you can see it at the end of those boys games. You know, if you're missing free throws early and then it comes down at the end, those 1 or 2 points, you're just kicking yourself because you left points out on the court. And so, as Tim did point out correctly there, improving all the team free throw percentages can really help you in those tight wins and losses.
Yeah, I mean, it's called a free throw, so it's basically free points. So you got to take advantage of it. And, you know, unfortunately, we have seen it come back to bite more teams more often than helping them. So yeah, it's across the board. I mean, you gotta hit those free throws.
All right, let's move on to our third team that we are previewing here on Sports Talk, and we will head over to Manheim this year. And one of the better sharpshooters in the league this year in the boys league is going to be Trey Grube. Only in his junior year, his third season there, averaged 17.5 points last year, 59 three-pointers for the squad, about 3 assists and rebounds per game. He was a first-team All-Star in Section 3. Can really light it up from the outside. We've seen what he can do on the channel. And Eric, obviously, we will get the Barons here in some very fun matchups. And in fact, we're going to have them in about 12 days on the channel. But I'd love to get your thoughts on Manheim Central. I think a serious contender for all kinds of titles this year if they can get everything together over there in Manheim.
Yeah, and let's face it. I mean, he is a complete ball player. He scores, he rebounds, he assists, and I think what the coaching staff likes out of Trey Grube is the fact that his vision on the floor is just incredible. He will see openings, whether it's for himself to go down the lane or step back and shoot or dish it off. And you know, the other thing they like is, you know, this is a guy that's going to lead by example, whether it's his style of play, shooting and passing. But what they really like is that he's going after balls on the floor. He's diving, jumping into the stands to save an errant pass, whatever the case may be. You set that tone, you set that example, other guys will follow. And I think that's what they're looking for out of Trey Grube this year.
Well, and he's coming into his third year as a consistent starter for this program. So at that point, you know the offense, you know the program, you know kind of the pressure that's on your shoulders from the past 2 years. So you know it's time to step it up here in your third year and lead this team. Some key seniors have graduated, so it's now his team, Judd Novak's team.
Yeah. And a spot on the floor that he won't be afraid to shoot from either.
It does give you a little bit of Taylor Funk vibes, although Taylor Funk would shoot it from half court, you know. But yeah. Tim, your thoughts on Manheim Central this year? Trey Grube, obviously, we've seen what he can do. Expect a lot more of the same this year.
One thing about Grube, obviously he can shoot, came out as a shooter as a freshman, but the one thing that he started to do that the coaches said that they really liked, starting to get that leadership in play, was he started diving for loose balls more, started hustling more. And when your top scorer does that, what that does is that's very contagious to the other players. They see that their leader out there, their top scorer, is diving and hustling. They better do it to stay on top. Manheim Central, they have a great shooting team. I won't be seeing a lot of them this year, as Chad and I will be doing the girls' games this year, but I'll be watching for them and looking the games on the channel, guys.
Yeah, it is worth pointing out that Manheim Central's high school gym under construction, a lot of construction going on. So we will not be in Manheim this year. So everybody at home, you'll have to catch those Manheim Barons on the road, as we will catch them on the road. So join us for that. And one last thing from Manheim Central. It does sound like Coach Fisher has said that Trey Grube really in a different zone at practice this year, really locked in, all business. And so I'm excited to see him, and we will show you when that will be here in just a few minutes. But we got to switch to our fourth local team here that we're previewing for boys basketball, and it is Warwick. And of course, we know what Warwick has been over the last few years, but they no longer have Superman there. Kai Sapala has gone on to college. He's doing his thing over at Millersville, already has a dunk there, I believe. So it'll be Tate Landis' team to kind of step up, be the senior. Here's what he's kind of done, at least over the last year, but we've seen a lot of Tate Landis over the last few years. 16 points per game, can really shoot it from the outside, 29 three-pointers last year, including that game where he got incredibly hot in the playoffs and hit 4 or 5 in the fourth quarter. Can assist, can steal. He is just an all-around player, a first-team All-Star for them in Section 2. So, Eric, what are you looking forward to in this senior year from Tate Landis? It is hard to believe that we have finally made it to Tate Landis' senior year.
It is hard to believe. You know, the first thing I noticed about him last season, his physical build. You could see how he had put on some weight, gained some muscle, and I think he did that because what you're seeing right now is him hitting these outside shots. He's also a guy that will not be afraid to dribble and go down the lane, and there's going to be a lot of collisions, a lot of contact. So physically, I think he tried to build up his strength to be able to take that physical punishment. But not only on the offensive side, but the defensive side. This is a guy that is going to be in your face going after the opposing point guard or the opposing shooting guard. Now, the downside to that is if you get too physical, you pick up some fouls. They cannot afford to have Tate Landis in foul trouble and out of a ball game. But you know, we saw stretches of him, and I forget exactly which game it was. He was scoreless in the first half, and he popped 5 threes in the third quarter alone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's going to be a center point as far as this Warwick offense is concerned this year.
I think it was the Central York game in the playoffs, but I can't be 100% sure because I don't believe we were there.
Well, I just remember seeing.
Yeah, Tim and I were not there.
I can't remember what game it was, but yeah.
Well, Coach Christensen's got him and a bunch of other ballers there to fill the void that was Kai Sapala. He kind of did everything for that team, and we will see what they are this year. Of course, they're back-to-back Section 2 champions, so they certainly know how to reload and keep on going. Tim, your quick thoughts here before we kind of put a bow on the boys' basketball preview.
Just I think that Tate Landis knows how important he is to the ball club. He comes out, I was reading a comment from one of the coaches that says he's a contagious player, meaning the other players on the team, his teammates look for him, and if they see him hustling, they're going to hustle. They're going to look at him at practice to see exactly what he does. So I just hope that he doesn't take a lot of that pressure that his teammates are looking to him all the time. I just hope that he is very relaxed, cool as a cucumber, as they say, and just does what he has been doing at Warwick, distributing the basketball and making those key shots when he has to. But boy, I tell you what, with Kai Sapala gone, that's going to be tough to miss.
It's a big void, but they will fill it. I know Coach Christensen works those guys all year round, and he will find some people to fill that void. All right, that's our boys basketball preview. Let's whet your appetite for our first boys basketball game of the season. It will be a good showdown between Manheim Central and Warwick over in Lidditz, Monday, December 13th, 7:30. So tune in for that if you're not heading to the game. That should be a good one. Looking forward to being there for that.